Hey, this is part one of two on how to make a sequin two-piece outfit. So if you want to make a top like this, keep watching. Let's begin. Okay, so here I have 2 yards of fabric. I have to use this rigorously and be careful because I'm going to be making the top and the skirt out of just 2 yards of fabric. So I have to be extra careful, but I just love the sparkle of this fabric and I'm just so excited about this. So I have my shirt here to make the pattern, and you can get any shirt you want, any shirt that fits you. And I'm gonna roll out my pattern paper, my brown paper. You can use any type of paper, and I'm gonna lay out the t-shirt, but I'm gonna put it inside out, and I'm gonna tuck in the sleeves because I just want the bodice of the shirt. Okay, so I'm gonna fold it and lay it right on that paper, and I'm gonna place these weights right on top, and I place a few pins right at the armholes just to stabilize the sleeves. And now I'm just tracing. I'm just doing a rough draft of this pattern because I'm gonna be doing the final pattern piece later on. But this is just a quick 1, 2, 3 pattern. So I'm just tracing. You can use a pencil or marker, and I'm just drawing in dashes along the armhole and also the shoulder. And since this is the back portion of the shirt, I'm just gonna determine where the front would be. So I made a little mark and I'm just connecting it. Okay, this is how it looks. I always like to document on my pattern piece what pattern piece it is. I put the date, I put the seam allowance, I put all the information I need that will help me during the time of garment construction. So now I'm just cutting out the pattern. Now I'm working on the sleeves using another sheet of brown paper, and I have it on the fold, and I'm gonna just place some pins to stabilize the sleeve while I trace. So I'm placing one at the top of the sleeve, and I'm just gonna use my marker and just make dashes. And the seam allowances I'm including within the pattern, so I'm not gonna draw in the seam allowance for the bodice of the shirt and the sleeves, because this shirt is kind of loose on me, so that seam allowance added already is gonna take away some of that looseness. So that's how the pattern looks, and again, writing down the information. So now I'm laying out my fabric on the table, and I'm just gonna figure out where I want the pattern to lay on the top. So this is where I want it to go with this nice design. So I'm just gonna place the fabric on a fold, make sure the sequin is lined up, make sure everything is lined up, and I'm gonna place the paper on top of it, and I'm gonna put some pins, and I'm just gonna cut it out. and I use my other scissors and not the scissors that I usually use because the sequins are gonna dull my scissors. So I'm just using some old shears, and I'm just cutting it out, and I'm using my rotary cutter. Okay, and this is how it looks. Looks so pretty, and I decided to leave that mesh on top. So when it's time to install the lining, I'm just gonna sew it on to where that design is. So I took a photo of the front portion of the top just to help me out to determine what I want to do with the back piece. So once I decided on it, I placed the fabric on the fold again, making sure everything is lined up. That's a very important step. And then I placed the back portion, which is the front because it's the same pattern. I placed it right on top of the fabric and just did the same thing that I've done for the front, and I cut off a little bit of the neckline, cutting the sides, the arm hole. I originally wanted the front piece and the back piece to be the same design, but after looking at the fabric I realized that it wasn't gonna happen. But either way, it's gonna come out really nice. Fashion is what you make it. You know, you don't always have to follow the pattern fashion guidelines when making your own garment. So I'm just gonna have fun with this and see what I come up with and hope for the best. So this is me just figuring out where I'm gonna place the sleeves. Like I said again, I wanted the design to be the same on both sleeves, but the amount of fabric that I had left over, just it wasn't gonna happen that way. So it's gonna be two different designs on each sleeve, which is fine with me. So I'm moving on to the lining and doing the same exact process for the lining. I'm just cutting everything out. Okay, so I'm gonna put right sides together and I'm gonna pin both sides to get ready to sew. And I like to be generous with the pins because this is a really slippery, slidey type fabric, so I just want to make sure everything is stabilized. And now I'm going to sew it together using zigzag stitch. It's only with certain fabrics that I clip off the sequins at the seams, but not for this fabric. So I'm just going right through, being careful. And I'm gonna do the same for the lining. Okay, so for the lining, I'm gonna cut the chest portion of the top right at the bottom of the armhole, leaving about a ½ inch just to sew, but I'm just cutting off the top portion so that I can attach it onto the sequin fabric, which I'll show you right now. So basically what I'm gonna have is a square once I get rid of the top piece. What I did was put the lining right side with the wrong side of the sequin fabric, and I slid the lining onto the sequin fabric. And once I did that, I just started pinning all around. And then I carefully sewed all around. And I'm just eyeing the ½ inch allowance that I gave myself for this lining. When I was done, I flipped the lining back, and this is how it looked. So now I'm going to put it right side out, and this is how it looks with the lining. It looks really, really good. So now I'm gonna get started with the sleeves. So I'm gonna sew the side, and I'm just gonna cut some of that seam allowance off to reduce some of the bulkage. And so this is the sleeve, so I'm gonna put it right side out. This is how it's looking, and I'm gonna put it right inside of the top. And I'm just gonna line up the seams. So the right side of the sleeve is gonna go with the right side of the top inside, and I'm just gonna pin all around. So now I'm gonna take it to the sewing machine, but I pinned all around. So again, with zigzag stitch, I'm just sewing all around that arm sleeve or armhole. And now I'm just cutting off again some of that seam allowance, because being that the top portion is see-through, you just want less seam allowance to show. So that's what I'm doing. So now I'm just hemming the lining about 5/8 of an inch wide. And now I have this instant fix hem tape that I'm gonna use for the sequin fabric. Didn't want to do a hem with the sewing machine for the sequin fabric. I just wanted to use the tape for it. I think it would be more suitable for this type of fabric. I'm still studying sequin fabric and how to work with this type of fabric, but this is what I came up with, just to use tape to create the hem. So this is what I'm doing, and this is also 5/8 of an inch wide tape. So I'm just laying it right on the inside of the garment, and I'm gonna do this little by little, and I'm just taking my time and making sure I'm doing it right. So I just cut it, and now I'm just gonna peel off the paper from that tape. And you want to do this easily and carefully, and I'm just folding it over. So it looks good in my opinion. But if you know any other way, please let me know, because I'm not really sure how to finish sequin fabric. But this will do for now. It looks good. So here I am doing it again for the other side. And I'm just going all around. Okay, and this is the final result. And what I was saying about cutting off the excess seam allowances at the armholes and the shoulders so it can be less visible. And I decided to leave the neckline as is and just clean it up a little bit, but this is the finished result. I also didn't hem the sleeves. I just left it as is as well. So I hope you learned something. Thank you for watching. Bye guys.